3 a.m. The witching hour. The time when shadows whisper and doors creak. But what if the knock you hear isn't a ghost? What if it's something worse? I'm Detective Drayk, and tonight we're stepping into a case where a simple knock unraveled a nightmare. Why keep watching? Because by the end, you'll realize sometimes the dead aren't the ones doing the knocking. It started with a call from apartment 3B of the old Ravenswood complex. For weeks, the tenant, a reclusive writer named Clara Voss, reported the same thing. Every night at 3 a.m., 3 knocks. Not on the door, not on the window, on the floor. Police dismissed it as creaky pipes or rats. But then Clara vanished. When I arrived, her apartment was ice cold, her laptop still open to a half-written manuscript titled The Knocking Game. The last line read, "They found me." The audience, you, were with me as I stepped inside. Remember when I crouched to check under the bed? You thought something might grab my ankle, didn't you? Instead, I found scratches on the floorboards, deep frantic grooves spelling help, and a single blood-stained earring. The building superintendent, Mr. Keller, swore he'd heard the knocks too. Like someone pounding from below, he said, but the Ravenswood had no basement, at least none on the blueprints. That's when I met the neighbors. First, Mrs. Finch, an elderly widow who claimed Clara was cursed for writing about the building's dark past. Then there was Leo, a college student who'd secretly filmed Clara's apartment for his YouTube channel. His footage showed shadows moving behind her curtains at 2:59 a.m. But no one entering or leaving. The audience shouted theories. Check the walls for hollow spaces. You were right. Behind a loose panel in Clara's closet, I found a hidden crawl space. Inside, a child's doll, a rusted pocket watch, and a newspaper clipping from 1982. Local girl vanishes in Ravenswood tragedy. The girl's name, Emily Keller. Same last name as the superintendent. Mr. Keller broke down when I confronted him. Emily was his sister. She disappeared from the building when they were kids, and the case went cold. But he swore he had nothing to do with Clara's disappearance. Then, at 2:58 a.m., I decided to stay in Clara's apartment. The room grew colder. The clock ticked. 3 a.m., knock, 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 from directly beneath my feet. But there was no apartment below 3B, just solid foundation. The audience screamed, "Tear up the floor." I pried up the boards, revealing a hidden hatch. Underneath, a tunnel, narrow and damp, leading to a concrete room. Inside, I found Clara, alive, chained to a chair, her mouth gagged. Scrawled on the wall behind her, "You're next." But the real horror? The room wasn't empty. Dozens of Polaroids lined the walls, photos of every Ravenswood tenant for the past 30 years. All vanished, all last seen at 3 a.m. The killer's identity? Leo, the student. His YouTube channel was a cover. He'd been obsessed with the Emily Keller case, convinced the building was a gateway for sacrifices to bring her back. Clara's book had gotten too close to the truth. He'd used the tunnels, built during Prohibition, to stalk tenants, stage the knocks, and lure them below. But here's the twist. Leo wasn't working alone. Mrs. Finch, the widow, was Emily's mother. She'd faked her death years ago to avoid suspicion, grooming Leo, her grandson, to continue the ritual. The knocks, a recording played through vents, timed to 3 a.m., a distraction while they dragged victims underground. So you see, this case was anything but simple. A knocking that wasn't supernatural, a killer hiding in plain sight, and a truth buried deeper than the bodies. But that's the thing about 3 a.m. It's not the hour that's cursed. It's the people who use it to hide their sins. The knocking was just the beginning.